I was telling my friend when I came back from that trip, that's it, I'm leaving. I was telling everyone in school, I'm leaving Canada. I'm going to be a model. I'm going to be doing, you know.
And you had long hair at the time, right?
Yeah. I'm going to make, I was telling him, I was telling him,
he had a mullet.
He had a mullet?
Yeah.
Like Joe Dirt?
Yeah. Like Patrick Swayze. Yeah.
I need this picture. I need to find this.
I have some more.
You send it to me because we're going to make this as a thumbnail.
Okay,
All right, so we're back, episode 39. We're almost to 40. And we have a special guest by popular request here.
I know. I think this is the most requested person we've had, even more than like...
Really?
Yeah, like more than like everybody.
Yes, so if people don't know who this is
boom,
my hype guy, Big Dave Bourlet,
hey
the full-time bodybuilder.
Thanks for having me on.
Former Chippendale.
Oh my God! Already,
former Mad Max 6 on all the message boards.
Doesn't he have a license plate that says Mad Max 6 too?
I did. We're
going to talk about why that happened, but the man in the house by request. Yes.
I'm serious when I say this. You were by far the most requested person.
Really,
even with all the pro bodybuilders and everything, at least like once a week, someone's like, "When are you going to put Big Dave on full-time bodybuilding? Full-time bodybuilding."
I'm shocked.
So now you're here.
So because Dave runs the YouTube channel, he is the man behind the camera, and he was literally the guy who every year was telling everyone how I was going to win the Olympia since 2001.
Yeah.
He looks great. Like, remember 2013? This is the craziest he's ever looked, I'm telling you.
So what's going on, Dave? Tell me what's happening.
I'm just glad to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
Nice,
So let's start. So people know you as just Dave Mad Max. Where are you from? And just start in the beginning so people can learn you.
So I was born in Paris, France, in '72.
Okay.
June of '72, and then very quickly my parents moved to Montreal, Canada, when I was 3. So in '75.
What was the reason for that?
Just living in France was really expensive. They told me, and they would have never been able to have once they had me. And they had a family. They were like, "Oh, it's just gonna be really expensive to have a house and just like, you know, taxes and everything." So they found friends who became sponsor in Canada, so they could go over there. So they moved over there, and they moved there because that was the only place where they were speaking French in Canada.
Well, it's a huge. I mean, it's a big French population there, and
Quebec.
Yeah,
you know?
French Canada. Yeah.
So that's where they moved, and then so I was there from '75 to 93. In the 93.
So it's you and you, but you had a brother, you had a sibling, right?
Yeah, he came in 75 actually. It's like 3 years later.
Okay, so he didn't come right away.
Yeah, he came a little bit later. Yeah, he's still over there.
Now, when you moved there, is the French different in Paris versus
much? Yeah, so it's kind of like English from British to American. So it's kind of like.
So
that.
you didn't know English, and your French. Was it hard for you to communicate?
You know,
it's only 3. So.
But I was speaking fluent though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it's like a French accent. It's just nothing like what they talk over there.
Oh, okay.
You know, so it's like slang. They speak slang over there. So it's like French Canadians, kind of like American versus British. Okay. You know, yeah.
And so when you were in Canada, like what did you do growing up? Did you play sports? Did you like athletic? Like,
I got into soccer. I did judo. I did karate for a long time. Actually, before I got into bodybuilding, I did karate.
Black belt in karate, dude.
Yeah. No, I remember hearing that a while ago.
Yeah,
like, you're kind of a badass.
And then I got into bodybuilding, and I did both for a while, but it was really hard because I started wanting to compete and everything. So it was really hard to do, you know, karate and martial arts and bodybuilding. So it kind of just took over. Bodybuilding took over. And then and it was kind of heavy also. So even though I was a black belt, I was just kind of like portly.
Yeah.
Who got you into the martial arts though? Because it sounds like, you know, between judo and you know, karate.
Well, I had a big mouth in school when I was younger. So once I
kind of hard to believe, actually.
Yeah. So once I started going to middle school and high school, I was like, oh, I better know how to fight because I'm going to be in trouble in high school. So I started taking, you know, karate classes.
Were you a good student or?
In school, I was average. And I was good at the beginning, but eventually I kind of got tired of it, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. So I was really worried, actually, when I was 18 years old, because I remember I was like, I had no clue what I was going to do.
Yeah,
in
but
my life.
I didn't really know either, dude. And I had a family business. I went to college. Like I was like, Like,
Yeah, but you want to be a cop? And
no, I did that only. I was saying this because I wanted to get away from the family business
Yeah.
of concrete.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, what could I do that isn't so laborious, right? So I'm like, oh, I'll become a cop. And it kind of was like one of those things. At 18, you really don't know what you want to do for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And then once I found the weight room, it was like, damn, like this put me in a good realm. So, like, you know, that's, I'm sure you were kind of going through that.
Do you think it's common? Because I tell my kids that all the time. I say, you know, don't worry about, not because I got 4 kids. I don't know if people know that or not, but I tell them all the time, and they're just around that age, like between 18 to 25. And I'm like, it's okay not to know what to do with your life as a career. It takes a while sometimes to find your way. You know,
It does. A lot of people,
right?
I mean,
I'm still trying to find my way.
but you know, like my buddy Matt, you know, remember he didn't really start really pushing until at 30 years old.
Oh my God.
You know?
You were sleeping on my couch.
And now look how successful he is. Yeah. So it's like, you know, you're not really sure, but so you kind of were doing these activities, but you were staying active, which was the key. And I think, you know, you said you led over to bodybuilding, and
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know, but there's a huge bodybuilding community in Montreal.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
That's where Atlantis Equipment is,
Yep.
and we talk about that. So what were the gyms? Because there's like Monster Gym, and there's
Atlantis was a big chain at the time, and I was actually training at the corporate gym.
like that starting point you were training there.
Yeah, because actually at the little mall that I was in Laval, I was actually at Laval, which is not really
There's a
in
really good
Montreal.
strip club in Laval, I think.
Oh my God.
Where did this
Right?
come from?
There's some really good one in Montreal.
Is that where you started?
Yeah.
No,
no. So I started that, and eventually I moved, and then I started training at the corporate headquarters of Atlantis, and that's where they were building the machines. And the guy who owns the chain was an ex Mr. Canada, and up till recently,
What's his name?
Raymond Sans Souci.
Okay.
And up till recently, he was actually traveling all the way to Gold's Gym to look at all the machines to see if there was something new, so he could rebuild it over there and then resell it. That's what he used to do.
Remind me, so he actually builds them in the basement or
Yep.
something, right? So
Yep.
the gym is like an upstairs floor.
It's like the showroom.
Okay,
sort of.
and then they actually build the equipment downstairs.
Downstairs,
or-
we have no access to it. It's like, you know, it was
Hidden,
closed.
yeah.
Yeah. But then you would bring the machine upstairs. We would try it, and then we'd start shipping them over. And now it's everywhere.
So when you were bodybuilding, did you just completely lose interest in the karate?
It took a while. It was like for a while I was doing both, and then gradually I got better into bodybuilding, and I started dieting, and I started competing. And once I started competing, you know how much time it takes of your
What
life.
age is this, though?
18.
Okay, so who did you see for the first time in bodybuilding? Schwarzenegger, obviously, right?
I was actually a Stallone fan. I didn't like Arnold.
I was a Stallone. People are surprised because
Yeah.
Stallone's not like a huge guy, you know?
Yeah.
So you didn't think Arnold was the it thing?
I thought he was cocky.
Well, I mean,
You know, which
still
he
is, right?
But I thought Stallone was nice. You know, I remember the turning point for bodybuilding for me was 1982 when I saw Rocky 3, and he was peeled.
What'd you think about Mr. T in Rocky 3?
Yeah, I thought he was good too. But
He was cocky too, right?
He was cocky, but someone was shredded.
Yeah,
You know, and it was just so
I
impressed.
used to think Mr. T was so jacked too. Right?
Yeah. But I would do abs every day at the gym when I saw Rocky 2. You know,
So did you compete in, like, how many shows did you do in Canada?
one. So I did Lanaudière in 1993. I got second place. I was 165 pounds at 5'10".
Wow.
Yeah, I was tiny, but I was peeled though. Yeah, no muscle, no
So
legs.
so that was a big transition because you said you were a little heavier.
I was heavy,
and then
yeah.
so did you really like the way it looked? And obviously,
I loved it.
It was attractive to.
But I really had to suffer because I didn't have a prep coach. I didn't have the chance. I mean, I had someone who helped me out with my diet, but it was just a friend. You know, it wasn't like a Chris Aceto.
Yeah.
So the knowledge, it took me forever to actually really put the pieces together for me to actually be able to be competitive. And I didn't think I had it. You know, back in Canada, I was like, okay, I want to move to the United States and I want to be a champion bodybuilder. And then I got to Venice and I realized, holy shit.
So when did you get?
So
Go ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, okay, well, you skipped from okay. How did you end up in? So when's the first time you came to the U.S.?
So I came to the U.S. in 1991 with my dad and my girlfriend at the time. And my dad always heard me talk about California and chips and, you know, like the schools.
Same
and
as me.
The movie. And he said,
I wanted to move to California for chips.
Oh,
dude. This is how we have in common here.
Yep.
I used to see those guys on the motorcycles. I'm like,
Oh,
wow,
my
they got
God.
and maybe that's why I wanted to be a cop.
Yeah.
because I wanted to be Chips.
Could you imagine?
God.
Could you imagine Jay driving around on a motorcycle?
No, but that's what I really wanted to be. You said that. Why did you want?
Yeah.
I really thought, okay, eventually I'll migrate to California. So we kind of had the same vision.
The life.
So go ahead.
And then, so we came, my dad said, let's go around winter time, like right before Christmas, December. He said, let's go for 10 days. You want to bring your friend? And so she came with us. And I really wanted to come in person to see it because, you know, you imagine it on TV, in the movies, but until you actually see it in person, it's not really real.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see what it was like to actually be here in person. And when I came, I remember leaving after 10 days thinking that was even better than I thought. And I said, that's it. I have to move here.
What did you see? Like, what were the main attractions?
So we went to Vegas. We went to Orange County. We went to Newport, Huntington Beach. We went to LA, of course, Hollywood Boulevard. Like we went a little bit of everywhere, you know. We didn't go to San Diego, but we went to Vegas for sure. That was great. And then that was just 10 days, you know, so it goes fast. You know, we didn't really know what we were doing. We just kind of rented the car and, you know. It was,
And this, you said, was in winter.
Yeah, so it was like 10 days in early December. And I remember the one we left, it was about shitty weather.
I was going to say you went home to a snowstorm.
Oh, dude, we were so depressed when we left California, man. It was terrible. And it took me a year and a half for me to get my shit together, to be able to save some money. And I was telling my friend when I came back from that trip, that's it, I'm leaving. I was telling everyone in school, I'm leaving Canada. I'm going to be a model. I'm going to be doing, you know.
And you had long hair at the time, right?
Yeah. I'm going to make, I was telling him, I'm
he had a mullet.
He had a mullet?
Yeah.
Like Joe Dirt?
like Patrick Swayze. Yeah.
We need this picture. I need to find this.
I have some
You send it to me because we're going to make this as a thumbnail.
Okay, right. And I told them I'm going to meet Stallone. I'm going to meet Arnold. And I did all these things, you know. So for now, people back home, would they see my life today, they're like, holy shit.
You're like a celebrity.
He's done everything he said he was going to do. So it's kind of cool.
Wow. I had no idea.
All right.
That's a
Yeah.
transition.
So you had the girlfriend go with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a year and a half later, you decided to leave Canada.
Yeah. She actually beat me to it. She actually loved it so much more than I did that she beat me by like a year.
So she ditched you?
Yes.
That's fucked up.
We broke up.
And what? Oh, so you broke. So she came.
Yeah.
And she was bodybuilding, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And then, so you tell me about the journey when you packed up and left, because this is a great story.
So, like I said, when I came back, my ultimate goal was like, okay, I want to get out of here. I really want to go move over there. So I was trying to save some money, but something would always happen. As soon as I would get ahead, like 2 steps, my car would break down, my engine would blow up, like something would happen. It would always set me back. And I got so sick of it. And I remember the last winter I spent over there was so cold. It was so cold. I was in a movie theater one time, and with the factory in was a minus 50 Celsius. The power completely shut down of the movie theater. So cold it was. And it was like the last shred of like telling me you need to get out. You need to get out of this place. It's not for you, you know. So I remember March 13, 1993. I sold everything I had, including my nice car. I had like a little Toyota MR2 with some T-tops and everything. I sold that. And I bought a piece of crap Monte Carlo with no spare tire in the car. And I barely had
I'm just picturing Dave with this mullet and this Monte Carlo.
Actually, at that time, I had it cut because I started doing modeling. They made me cut it.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was still a little longer than normal. So anyway, I took the car, and I said, that's it. I don't care. And I just had met a girl at the time, and I told her, listen, I really like you, but I'm leaving. So if you want to come, you can come, but I'm leaving no matter what. So she actually came with me, and she ended up being like really good, that girl. Colette Guimond was her name. She was like
I remember her.
Yeah, she was really good. She was like a mini flex wheeler.
Yeah, she competed, but we'll get to that. So so you guys drove from Montreal.
I bought an Atlas so I could see the road, and I actually just went across exactly from, you know, as straight as I could go. And it took us 7 days. Driving every day.
And did you stop and stay at hotels?
I stayed at a hotel. We stayed like some of those hotels. You can get like a membership card. It's like cheap hotel where like hostels and people like that. You know, so I got that so it would be cheap. Anyway, I was just so desperate to leave because something would always happen. I said, I gotta go, otherwise I'll never go. And I'm gonna get a house. I'm gonna get a job, and I'm not gonna leave anymore. So I was just tired of it. So that's what I did. I got the car, and by the time I changed my money, because you lost a lot in the change at that time, I had $450 US to do my journey and start my life here. And by the time we were done in California, after hotel and food and gas and everything, I had $150 left in my pocket to start my life with no job, no permit, no way to work here legally.
Can you imagine?
And no English.
Well, somewhat English, but I was talking without my hands.
You know what I'm thinking of right now? He drove across the country for like $250.
Yeah,
I know, but he had no spare tire.
no spare tire in the car. When my dad found out that I did that with no spare tire.
So what did you tell your dad? Did your dad say you'll be back, or because my dad, when I left my house at 18, he's like, "You'll be back," and I'm like, "No, I won't," and I never came back.
Actually, you know what? I remember my parents told me it's good for you to go, even though they were sad I was leaving. They had done the same thing with France. They understood, you know, what it was like to leave your family behind in a foreign new country.
Yeah.
So they were actually supportive, and they said, "Listen, the worst thing that could happen is that you call us to tell us that you need some money for a plane ticket, and we'll bring you back." But that never crossed my mind. The first year I was here, I remember I moved 11 times in 12 months because I had no clue where I was going to go.
So where did you stay when you first came with the girlfriend? And did you stay in Venice, or did you sleep in the car? Or?
I stayed everywhere. I never slept in the car, maybe once or twice. I can't even remember. I couldn't even tell you. But I know I had no furniture, and all I would do is bring my clothes from one place to the next and sleep on the floor. I didn't want to buy any furniture because I didn't know where I was going to settle and where I was going to be able to make some money and stuff. So the first month I came in, we actually lived in Orange County. And I remember we went to Huntington Beach every day to train at Powerhouse when it was right on the beach at the Powerhouse.
Great gym, yeah.
And then we'd park in that structure. We'd walk to the beach after the workout and spend the whole day on the beach. And we did that for 30 days. The first 30 days, it was great.
Life.
What did you eat and stuff?
Oh, dude, I was on a strict diet at the time. I wasn't big, but I was lean. So.
And did you see Sean Ray at that Powerhouse gym?
He's the first pro I ever saw with the bushy socks and the atomic shoes.
And what'd you say?
I didn't say anything. Was starstruck, but he came to my girl and started hitting on her, though. They all did that. Cormier did that, too.
I remember. Well, she was, you know, back then, I mean, women's bodybuilding wasn't so, like, it was kind of like the girls were very...
she was pretty.
Pretty,
She had, like, you know, I remember she did the Iron Maiden, and she won the whole show. And Flex Wheeler and Shawn and all the guys were like, who?
I remember her in the magazine when she won it, because I was watching that, because remember I won that show in '95, the Tournament of Champions, which was like the sister show to that.
Yep.
That was in December, that Iron Man. You won the sword, right?
Yep.
So I always like watched with the California shows. And usually those people that won those shows went on to big things.
Yeah. She became a pro after a while, but.
Were you competing at that time? Here?
No, I was just a goofy boyfriend that was like following her.
So what happened with, obviously you guys split up.
Yeah, we split up, and she went back to Montreal and everything, but I stayed. And it took me a long time to find my way. I tell people when they first move here, you really got to give it a good amount of time to make some friends, make some connections, network. Yeah. You know how it is, because once you know people, they'll know someone who can help you, and that's how it works here. At the beginning, I was like, I couldn't work here legally either, so that's why I started doing the stripping thing when I got here. Because
how does this come about? Did someone?
I found an ad in a newspaper. I remember when I was with Colette, he had a much easier time making money than I did, so she kind of supported me being here, and I paid her back later, but. She was like, you need to get a job because I can't keep paying for the both of us, you know. So I saw an ad in the newspaper that said, you know, stripper, dancer, exotic dancer, you know. So I applied, and they liked that I was like coming from France and it was like exotic and everything. And I was in good shape, you know. So I started learning choreography and everything. And I would go on tour for like a week at a time, make about $1,000 cash every time I would leave for like a week, come back for 2-3 weeks, not work, and then just kept doing that over and over.
That's good money.
Yeah.
So were you learning English at this time too, being on like around other people?
You know what it is? It's like, do you know how I learned English the most is so I was good at writing it when I first came here, but not so much speaking it. I would understand very well, but I had a hard time communicating. But I went to the movies and I loved the movies, just like you. So at the time, they had all those older movie theaters where you could pay like $2-3 to go see movies. So I would go see one movie and then jump from movie to movie. So it's like 2-3 movies a day, and that's how I learned. I picked up 50%, 60%, 70%. Eventually, that's kind of how I got to learn the language.
I suppose if you have a foundation, you hear it over and over. You
put the words with the action, like, oh, okay, you know. But the people were really, the Americans are really good about not making fun of you. If you're trying to explain yourself, if you don't speak very well, they'll tell you, well, no, that's not the right word. You should say that instead. They're good about doing that instead of just making fun of you.
Was Van Damme someone you looked at then? Or
Yes, Bloodsport. Yeah, of course.
Did he train in?
Well, he did later, but you haven't even gone to Venice at this point yet, right?
I did, actually, and I met Ed Conner. Ed Conner gave me a year membership, dude, when I first got there.
What year was that?
Shit, I want to say like 94.
Does he remember that, I wonder?
Yeah, I told him.
Really?
And you know what's funny is that at the time, Colette, of course, which like wherever she would go, people would let her train for free because she's just, you know, who she is.
Shape, yeah.
But I'm trying to get in, and they're like, who the hell are you? You know, which is understandable. So Ed, so the guy at the Gold's Gym at the gate would always give me a hard time. You need a membership, you need a membership. And eventually Ed saw me with her, and he said, just don't worry about it. And he signed up for me to train there for 1 year for free.
Wow.
Yeah, Ed Connors, yeah, I did that.
It seems like he's done that with a lot of people.
A lot of people.
You know, I mean, he probably just saw this physique and he's like, wow, this guy has potential. And obviously, you know, you were touring at the time and, you know, but what led you, you know, you guys separated obviously. So that, and then when did you like get settled into? Like,
so I kept going on tour while we split up. And eventually I met my wife, my future wife. And so when I met her, she was just a regular, you know, pretty American.
Where'd you guys meet?
So I met her actually. Oh, okay. So I went on tour. Actually, I went back to Canada for like 2-3 weeks, I think, with a guy who was a cop at the time. And he was like stripping on the side. And he was a cop, I think, in Long Beach or something like that. And he kept talking about his girlfriend. And I said, hell, you keep talking about a girlfriend. Does she have a sister? And it was my future wife. So when he said, yeah, she does actually have sisters. So when we come back to the States, I'll hook you up. And that's how I met her. And that became my wife.
Wow. So let me ask you, just because I'm dealing with visa stuff all the time. How was it back in the 90s for you to become legal here?
You got to get married, you know, and so once you get married, it's easier.
Were you able to get a visa on your own, or was marriage the only way back then?
That was the easiest way, you know. But see, the way I did it back in the day is actually a lot of people from Canada would just drive to Burlington to go shop in New York. 6 hours away from Montreal.
Montreal, yeah.
So a lot of people would just say, well, I'm just going to go shopping. So in 93, what I did is I went and I said, I'm just going shopping, and I never came back.
Because you didn't need a passport to cross back then. Right?
I had it, you know, but I don't even know if they ask, because it's just so common that they don't even bother.
It was a lot easier, right?
A lot easier.
I would assume it was, for sure.
Yeah.
Because I remember, I forgot what year it was, you used to be able to cross over by foot or by car without a passport.
Yeah.
Into Canada. And
they didn't give me a hard time, you know, so.
So was Max Muscle the first job you took then?
So I started, when I met Kim, my wife, I just didn't feel right stripping anymore. And she never asked me to stop, but I just said, nah, I don't want to do it anymore. I just don't feel right. So I stopped working, but then I stopped working for like a year. And she told me, she said, listen, I think we have a real future, but you need to get a job.
And what did you look like at this time? Was this when you gained weight?
I gained weight because I stopped.
How much did you weigh?
Dude, I went up to like 260 or 68 pounds with a 50-inch waist. That was bad.
So how do you go from like being in crazy shape, being like
because
on the road?
She was a regular girl. She didn't go to the gym, or she just used to go like one day a week.
Ate bad, or
I basically just became married after her lifestyle. Yeah, we went to go eat every weekend or several times a week, and so for 2 years I kind of just enjoyed myself, and then you just lost it, you know. But then eventually she said, you need to really get a job, and I said, well, I really want to find something that I like. I don't want to just get a job just for the sake of getting a job. But after a while, it sounds like an excuse. And eventually I saw something in the newspaper that says retail store Max Muscle. And when I saw Max Muscle, I was like, holy shit, I know Max Muscle. Yeah. And a lot of time when they would say that, it was always like a marketing scheme or like pyramid stuff, or, you know, they never actually say the name of the company. And when I saw Max Muscle, I said, oh, I want to do this. And I called and called and called. And the lady said, stop calling me. I'm going to call you back. So she gave me an interview. I did well with Shelly. Do you remember Shelly?
I don't remember Shelly.
Yeah, Cuban brunette anyway. And then so she saw me, she liked me. She invited me back for a second interview with Joe Wells, which was the owner of the company at the time. Sean Green was actually at FIBO in Germany. He wasn't there, thank God. Sean was tougher. And then so Joe liked me. And even though I barely spoke any English, he gave me a job. And to this day, I still tell him, I said, I don't know why you hired me, man. I don't think I would.
Your life, though.
You did.
Yeah,
I would have not hired myself.
You were so committed. And, you know, I know for us, like we met when you were with Max Muscle.
Yeah.
Did you hear what he just said? He said, I would have not hired myself.
I would have not hired myself. I told Joe, I said, why did you?
So what did you do for Max Muscle? Because if people don't know, Max Muscle was like very relevant.
It was booming at the time.
Yeah, they had clothing and supplements. They had stores.
Nationwide,
like
right?
Many stores, like 150 stores
You
nationwide.
eventually started training people to run, like they had a corporate store mock setup in their main office, and that they would bring people in to train them to open their stores. Correct?
Yeah, that was at the end of my time.
What did you do in the beginning then?
So at the beginning, they gave me this little store in San Dimas that needed a manager, and so I got the job over there, and I completely remodeled the store, cleaned everything, like did that what I could with no money, just physical work, and they were just like floored. And the first month I was there, I increased the sale by like 33%. They was like, holy shit, who's this guy?
Because you're a nice guy. You're very good with actually selling products.
Yeah, I was just so proud that he gave me a shot, because I didn't think he was going to do it. I really wanted to prove myself. And so from there, we would go to the corporate office like once a week for meetings with the other 2 stores managers. There was a manager in Venice. There was one in Orange, which was the flagship store. And there was the San Dimas one. And my sales were just going through the roof. So eventually, after 2-3 months, they gave me the Orange store, which was like a bigger store to be in charge of. So I was making more money in sales. And eventually, they gave me all 3 stores to manage, which was
and these were the only stores at that point,
only
right?
3.
They didn't franchise yet.
Yeah. Well, no, they had a bunch of franchise, but there was the only 3 corporate stores.
Oh, okay.
But since I was doing so well running those 3 stores, they were like, you know what? We're making good money right now. Let's get more. So they ended up buying more and more store. So I had like 2 in Vegas, 2 in San Diego, 1 in
and you had to travel to all these?
All of these, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So whenever a store was in trouble, they would send me there for like 2-3 weeks.
What did you bring to the table that you think was a solid, like, positive piece to this puzzle?
I was good at training people, and it was good to give them like sales technique.
Did you know about products?
I was good at supplements, yeah.
And what was the clothing versus supplement sales at that time in the stores?
Well, the supplement, you have to really work at it, because you have to explain to people how to use it, whereas the clothing, either they like it or they don't. So the clothing is something supplementary that they'll sell on top of it. But the good thing about the clothing is it was your brand. So what Joe had done, especially with the Venice store, and that's kind of why people start to know me in the bodybuilding circles, is that whenever the pros would come to town, such as yourself or anybody else, they would say, comp them $100 worth of free clothing. So either it be a hat or a tank top or pants or whatever, so they can wear it during the photo shoot. And if they wear the clothing during the photo shoot at Gold's, we'll pay them in the magazines. You know what I mean? So
It's
for
product placement deal.
That's right.
Yeah,
so
I think it was a couple $100 at one point.
Dude, it was more than that. So if you got a cover with a very prominent logo, you could get $1,000. $250 for a small ad. If it was like a full page ad, it was like $500.
So then guys were doing photo shoots, and they were purposely wearing it. They wanted that extra money.
That's right.
So let me go back though, because I think Max Muscle's whole thing was like they put people on diets to buy the supplements. Was that am I right or wrong?
Well, they started doing those transformation contests.
Okay, that's really what propelled it, right?
And they had the Viper the first year.
Yeah. So they gave away a Viper, and so it enticed people to actually get on the programs and buy the products, and then it would be like a reoccurring subscription, basically.
That's right.
So how long did you work? How long did you have that position for?
So Max Muscle, I started in 2000. Oh, no, that's not true. I started the corporation in 1998, all the way up to 2004. In 2004, that's when I bought the Venice store. So what happened, the reason why I did that is because in 2004, 2003, 2004, they started selling all the corporate. So they went from having 10 stores to start selling the one that weren't doing so well, all the way up to like 2 stores. And I was doing good money at the time because I was running all those stores. And they were only, once they were about to sell the last store, there was only going to be 1 left. It was like, okay, they're going to get rid of me. Someone told me they're going to fire you because,
there's no stores left.
That's right. And so they had something planned for me, such as training the new store, but they never told me that. So I thought, I'm going to get fired. You know what I mean?
So you spent all these years building it up, and you thought you were going to get
that's
the tan.
right. So I basically, with a friend of mine at the time, had the chance to buy the store, the Venice store, from Robin Chang and Flex Wheeler, who owned it at the time. Flex actually had bought the store, had gotten it as part of his contract in 2003 when he was with Max Muscle, and Robin was a partner. And a lot of people didn't know that, but Robin spent an entire year in that store, sleeping behind the counter because he was just so bored. Because Flex was supposed to help him run it, but Flex had moved to Fresno. So Robin was stuck running that store for an entire year, and he hated retail, hated it. Oh. So I went to go see Robin and I said, listen, I would like to buy the store from you. How much would you want for it?
Take it.
So we made a deal, and that's when Robin became the promoter of the Olympia in 2004 because he could get out of the store.
Yeah, because American Media bought
that's right.
Olympia and all that. But,
that's right.
You know, we met in 01.
Yeah.
And it was kind of an awkward time because, you know, I had just finished competing and, you know, I was like, I don't know if I had met you prior to that, but I know that we actually conversed like after that. I remembered you came up to me, you were training some women in the gym.
Yes.
I was doing a photo shoot after the 01 controversial year. And you introduced yourself and said, I'm Scotty's friend, who was the guy he actually opened the store with.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's how we kind of became friends. And ever since then, we've kind of been, kind of best friends.
Yeah, that was funny because I remember I was training that girl at the gym at the Powerhouse in Fountain Valley.
Yeah.
And she saw him. He was doing a photo shoot with Per Bernal, and she was like, oh, my God, who's the eye candy? Yeah. And I'm like, hey, I know this guy. And she said, no, you don't. I said, yeah, I think I know him. And then he spotted me, and he stopped the photo shoot, and he came and shook me. Hey, I'm Jay. You remember me? And she was floored.
Yeah.
That was great. Yeah.
So you took over the store then, and then tell us about that journey with owning the store.
So in 2004, we took over the store, and I was just glad to be in Venice because that's where all the pros were, and I wanted to be in that clique. You know what I mean? Yeah. You want to, and once I realized I wasn't going to be a pro, then I was like, okay, I got to find a way to still be in that circles, to get to know these guys, and because of the stores and because of what the joke who was giving the clothing to the people. They would all come by. I was like the Santa Claus. They all liked me because they wanted to get some free clothes, you know, and get paid, the guys. So everybody knew me from Dave from Max Muscle at the time. Mm-hmm. And also I started promoting the store on Chad Nichols' website, Muscle Mayhem, at the time. So I was like a moderator. And I started a thread that was called Life in Venice, What's New Today. And I would post a picture of whoever would come by the store, would be a Jay or Lee Priest or Stridums.
Tell them how some of the celebrities so the listeners can know who came through. Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson.
Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan, all the wrestlers, John Cena. I mean, all these guys. I mean, at any given time, you could come by the store if you're a customer and to buy a tub of protein, and you see Dorian, Lee Priest, Craig Tatters, Tom Price.
You had the couch. I remember
they
you
were
had the
all
couches in there.
Yeah, we had the couch, the PlayStation. Cormier played
because the restaurant was next door.
Yes, so they could get their food next door, have delivered in the store.
And the firehouse was on the other side.
That's right.
People migrated. It was a walking.
It was
place.
Great.
It was. You started interviewing people there.
Yeah,
that was like the casting couch before the casting couch.
That's right. The Muscle Beach TV. We started over there.
Yeah. I remember that.
It was great.
I used to see him on the Muscle Mayhem arguing with people.
Yeah. That store really, Max Muscle and that store really opened up doors for me. And people like wonder how is this guy friends with Jay? How does he know all those people? Yeah. That's really what did it, because it gave me access to all those people, and they got to know me as this nice guy, from the industry who likes bodybuilding, but that's it. So I'm really grateful to have that job, because if I didn't start working for Max Muscle, I don't know where I'd be today. I don't know.
Yeah, he wasn't in the best of shape at this time.
No,
you
were just. I was heavy.
You were.
Yeah, I look back at some of the videos, and I was like, when did we do the actual? Didn't we rename?
2006.
So we ended up renaming it Jay Cutler.
So here's what happened. I'm gonna tell that story because Jay will never say that, but that's the God's honest truth. So in 2000. Every year since easily from like 3, 4, 5, we knew he was at the cusp of getting the championship. And to me, I knew he was going to get it, especially 05. He really got screwed in 05. But anyway, he told me in 05, he said, listen, why not get the title? Because I know I'll get the title. Once I get the title, we're going to change the name of the store to Jay Cutler's Max Muscle, just to help you, just to, make it like an attraction. And I'm like, holy crap, that's like huge, you know, and it creates such a big controversy in the whole entire company because all the other stores were like jealous. They were like, well, that's bullshit. What, this guy is gonna, you know, Jay's gonna have his own store, but everyone's gonna want to go there. And it was already kind of like a store already because since, I mean, every check he would win at the Olympia, you know, second place, they were all there. All the posters, it was like a Jay Cutler shrine. I love that store. It was great.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, so we kind of called it Jay Cutler's Max Muscle without it being officially Jay Cutler's Max Muscle.
They were okay with
it. Was official though, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were okay.
Well, online it was, but we didn't actually change the sign outside. But
we had a big banner, you know, that we had made. But we had I remember, so in June, I think July of 2004, we had a huge grand opening. Tons of pro came. I mean, everyone who was local that came.
Yeah,
was like
eventually
a big party.
it was like a legit. I was involved in the store, and then you know, we were kind of filming around Venice at the time, and you, like you said, you were running the message boards, but you know, you ended up getting back on stage in 2008.
The year you lost.
I lost, yeah, and you competed like right before me, or I think, or after.
I think right before. Yeah.
And I remember we would shoot a lot of our content in there, and just you know, it was really cool because, you know, if you remember when we filmed J to Z, the videos, like that was walking from Dave's store down there, and I filmed that late at night that night, and you know, you would be quite a distance from the Venice store every day.
Yeah. Oh, I always drove at least an hour.
So where did you live?
So at the time, I think at the time I was living in Brea, so it was about 45 minutes away. Yeah. And I remember I would drive Silvio at the time. Silvio kind of came on the scene like 07.
I remember, yeah.
And we'd drive him because he had no car at the time. So I would pick him up every day. He would come to the gym with me. He would train with Charles, stick with me at the store until it was time for me to leave, and then we'd drive him back home. And we did that for like a year.
And how long did you have that store until? When did you?
Okay, so 04 is when I bought it. 06 is when Jay actually came on as a partner, sort of. And we named it Jay Cutler's Max Muscle. And I think 2010 is when I sold it.
But it had moved locations by then. But
yeah,
you know, we ended up going over to
Lincoln by the Whole Foods.
Yeah.
And the problem with that was that, see, the place where it was before on Hampton was good because it was literally walking distance from Gold's and Firehouse. It was like the Bermuda Triangle kind of.
Yeah. And
then once we moved it to Lincoln, it was just too far for people to walk. They would actually have to drive there. And I think we lost some of the people.
Yeah, so, you know, listen, this is kind of the downfall of Gold's Venice. Like, we witnessed greatness, right? We saw, like, the peak. And you were training there you were training with Chickarillo.
Yeah.
And, like, he was your training partner for a long time, right?
In 08, when I competed, you did my diet, and I was training with him. So I had, like, a good team going.
You know, when you go to the Firehouse, they still had the Bob Bowl on.
Oh, yeah.
Of course they do.
It's $30.
Yeah, you can't afford it anymore.
Yeah, so, you know, you... Talk about Gold's Venice a little bit. Like, what... I mean, listen, you were the one that got all these pictures on the walls. Like, you remember, like, do you remember when I won the Olympia in 06?
The picture was so fast. But when we were so excited for you to win.
How did you handle that? Because they didn't put up any pictures. I mean, they had Ronnie Coleman up there, and we made sure that as soon as I won, right, they were... Because they probably wouldn't have...
Oh, they would have dragged their feet.
But I feel every picture after me, you were kind of in charge of getting up there. Were you in charge of Dexter Jackson's?
No, he did it.
What about Phil Heath?
No.
Sean Roden?
No.
I think
you were there to film all of them.
I think Psycho helped get that one up.
Yeah.
I remember they did a video.
Yeah, but what I did is, so as soon as you won, I contacted Weeder at the time because you were still with Weeder, and Robert Reef had taken the picture backstage, you know, on the studio pictures. And so I told him we need to get some good pictures to put it on Gold's, the wall at Gold's. And so I asked for the dimension of what the poster would be. And then we found a place local in Venice, got it blown up. It was like, I think, $325 and put it in like some sort of rigid paper and give it to Gold, and they put it up. But it was up literally like a month later after you won. It wasn't long.
It was quick. You know,
was
still
great.
Missing a couple of years, but... You know, how does it feel to have your picture graced on Gold's Venice wall? There's a very famous picture you taking a picture of me.
It's my back, so people don't know it's me, but it's me.
It's still you.
That was actually another picture from Kevin Horton. That was a good one. So the one that's actually there, the big one, the poster of Jay, was the one that he took in 2009 right before he won the title back again. That was from Kevin.
Oh, we changed it.
We did.
I forgot.
Yes.
We used to have a one-arm most
That's
muscular,
right.
and then we
Scotty
had
has
the
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then that second one was from Kevin Orton just a few weeks before.
So I'm probably the only guy that was ever put on the wall and changed.
And we asked to change it, and they did it. Yeah.
We thought 09 was probably the best.
Yeah.
It was, right?
Yeah.
So you had this store until 2010.
Yeah.
Then where does the journey take you after
Talk
that?
about the chaos after that.
So while I still had the store, I remember I was still writing for Muscle and Fitness, right? I'm not for Muscle and Fitness, for Muscle Mayhem. To start to promote the store, but I was like, you know what, I should make some money doing this thing. And at the time, Chris Gethin was dating this girl who was working for me named Colleen, and he came from Wales and the UK and stuff, and he was getting paid from Weeder for writing stories. And the way he was getting his stories, he would come by the store, ask me, hey Dave, what's going on today? I would tell him all the skinny, and then he would write the stories and get paid for it. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm an idiot. I could do that since he's getting all the stories from me. So I pitched that idea to, he got fired for a different reason, from the Weeder magazines. But then I went to Weeder, I asked for a meeting with Peter McGuff at the time. And I said, Peter, I would like to do my column for your magazine. And he said, well, I can't put you in the magazine, but I'll put you online if you want. And I'll start you, at a salary. I can't give you much. I'll give you that much. But we'll do 6 months. And if you do well, I'll give you a boost. And so I did that for the first few years. And every 6 months or every year would give me a raise. But then he left, and then so that's when things started getting screwy a little bit. And then so Jay left. That's around the time where Jay left Weeder to go to muscle development. And of course, I wanted to follow him because I thought, first of all, I wanted to always keep promoting his career, and I just felt like we were a good team. So basically, I was asking Blackman, let me come over here and work for you and do what I'm doing for Weeder, do it for you. Except he gave me a column in the magazine also. So I could actually do online, and I could do in the magazine and talk about the stories from Venice and what's going on. But after a while, he wanted more, and that's when we kind of got into the videos. And that's when the videos kind of started. But I didn't know how to edit. So the way I would do the videos at the time is I would just shoot for like 2-3 minutes raw and upload it directly as is on the website. And that's how I would do it.
Was that on the website, or was that on like their message board?
It was on their message board.
Okay.
So MD Noble.
Yep,
Yeah.
Noble Radio.
Noble, yeah. Yep. And so that's what I did. But eventually what we did, and I remember this was like it was yesterday, Jay said to me, he was thinking about doing his comeback in 2013. And he said, I'm watching those boxing documentary called
All Access.
All Access or whatever.
24/7, yeah.
It'd be cool if we did something like that. And I'm like, oh my God, it's a great idea. So for his comeback, we thought, why don't we do that? So for 2013, what I would do is I would, I would say 3.5 days a week, I would come to Vegas, stay with him. He would put me up, would film nonstop for like 3.5 days. Then I would go back to California to be with my family. And then I started to learn how to edit myself. And that way we basically documented his whole entire Olympia prep. But we would come up with stuff like every day. So whether it be pictures or workouts or whatever, something would be up on the MD website to see what he was doing with his prep. And that was hugely popular.
I remember that.
Because there was no real social media yet. Like Instagram kind of I kicked off my Instagram like 2012. So like that was like the early stages of early social media.
Yeah.
I remember when back then you'd say that Dave's coming out to spend the weekend or something. He's going to come and stay with me and film. You did that for years,
But
right?
back then Instagram was only still pictures and stuff. Like they didn't have Instagram story or anything like that.
Right.
So basically we were recreating what later came out.
You were ahead of your time.
For content, yeah. So, we got to document it, and people followed along because they wanted to see the progress.
Oh,
and they watched the whole progression up until the end.
And they were like, man, I would gladly pay for this. They were like, you guys are nuts to do this for free. And we gave all that to Blackman. And I was hoping after that I would get a raise, but instead I got fired.
Did he tell you why he fired you?
Yeah, because I don't know. His son was working for the company also, but Jordan wasn't doing much and wasn't like a big fan of bodybuilding, but he was still paying him. I'm sure he was paying him good money. And I think it was just too much to pay the two of us. And so out of the two, I'm the one who got the cut. So
yeah. So you transitioned to what?
So after that, I worked for Muscle Insider. Muscle Insider actually was just getting started, which is a a Canadian magazine, and they actually had to offer me a job before, and I said no, I'm going to go with MD because I chose MD, and so after that, when I lost the job, I said, listen, you still want me? I'll work for you. So I worked with them for like a good 2-3 years,
doing the same kind of thing, and then you transitioned to Dan Solomon with Digital Muscle, kind of doing the same thing.
About 6 months, yeah.
And then finally, we just kind of were like, okay, enough of this, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, I came to you and I said, listen, you know, he was retired at the time. It was, you know, he was, and it was like, let me bring my content to your platform and let's keep you relevant. You know, we work well together. Why not make money at it? You know, and then so we did. And how many years was that? This got. I
remember that happened because shortly before that, I was going through your YouTube and trying to get. There was a bunch of people that were taking videos that were up and they were copying them and monetizing them on other people's pages.
Yeah.
So it was like a good month or two. I went through a bunch of videos, and then I remember at one point he was like, "Hey, Dave's gonna start doing this on here," and you took off from there.
Yeah.
Do you remember how many subscribers we had when we took over?
So we had you already had established a good platform because you had started before.
50,000 or
no,
100?
dude, 107. I think you had 107. Yeah, which is really good.
It was dormant for a while though, so
it wasn't used for like 3 years.
Yeah, now it's at 500, over 550,000.
Closing on 660, 600 is the goal next. Yeah. But yeah, it was great, but I would tell people it's funny because when I was living in California still, we would really make a point for him to come or for me to come here, you know, so we could always have some content with him. And then when I moved to Vegas, I'm like, oh, that's going to be great. I'm going to be here every day. I'll be able to see him every day. And I find myself not filming as much with him as I did when I was in California, which is funny.
Yeah,
because I'm local now.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So when you look, so now that you're doing this for the YouTube channel, how do you like look at a story and decide what to do and what not to do? Like, does something come in front of you? You're like, I don't want that on the channel, or like, is there certain things you look for?
Well, a lot of time, actually, to be honest with you, I have to give Jay credit as far as new talent. He's got a really good eye with people that will be good or will become good that I don't see. Sometimes there are new people at the gym and stuff, and sometimes we'll be at the gym together and say, oh, that person, you should film them. And I'm like, really? Why? I don't know why you would, but most of the time he's right. So I'm more like I'm good about filming people that have some sort of story about that I know personally, a relationship, because I know what to ask. Yeah. You know, and I think the way I'm different than other people is when I do interview with people, I know things, or I know kind of like you know the people on a personal basis, so you know what to ask and you make them open up. And at the end of the day, I want people when they watch the video to feel like, oh, I just didn't just watch an interview. I kind of watched two friends talking. Yeah, that's kind of my angle.
Yeah, but you always have certain questions you ask because being a fan of bodybuilding, right? You know what people's mindset are, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like with you, you know, when we just did the camp for charity, one of the camper told me, you always ask the right questions with Jay. It's the kind of question that I want to ask him. I said, well, it's because I'm a fan. I'm a fan of him. I'm a fan of a sport. Yeah. So I ask questions that are kind of like fan-like, so people will, oh, geez, I'm glad you asked that question.
It makes it better if there's interest.
Do you feel like, since everyone's kind of doing YouTube now, is it challenging to come up with new things, or is it just easy to kind of follow someone and show like real raw lifestyle kind of footage?
What do you mean? See, the thing is that I don't look at anybody else's stuff, so I don't really know. I don't really
pay attention to what people do.
You tell me. And I don't look at other people's stuff.
Yeah, a lot of times, like, people are training at, like, you train at Dragon's Lair on a daily basis, which you love, right? That's kind of like, so you migrated, you're in Vegas now. Yeah. You moved here. Yeah. Why did it take you so long to move after I told you for 10 years to come here? Because
when I was in, first of all, if you had told me I would ever leave LA, I would say you're nuts. Because that was my dream to live in LA, the beautiful weather and all that stuff, and Gold's Gym and bodybuilding. It was the hub, you know, for bodybuilding. And then once the pandemic happened and everything shut down, I waited. You know, Gold's closed and everything closed, and I waited from, let's say, March till like October, and I'm like, you know what, things are not going back to normal. Who knows if it's ever going to come back? And I said, you know, all that's left now in LA is the weather, and I can't just stay here for the weather. There was always issues with the traffic and all that stuff, but there was so many upsides to living there that I didn't really see that. But once all the upsides were taken away and you're left with the weather, that's not good enough.
You know what's crazy though is what I want the listeners to know, or the viewers. How long were your days when you would drive to Venice to capture content?
So usually I would leave around, I would say like 10:30, 11 in the morning on my bike, because I would take the bike. It was much faster to come back, especially.
You don't get stuck in traffic.
You split lanes.
But a lot of days it rained or whatever, so you had the car. So
yeah. So I would leave around 10:30, 11, and would start my day around 12, 12:30 with train. And then I would either I would shoot before I train or I would shoot after. So I would never just go to train by itself. It was rare. Most of the time I would always either film, train, and come home, or train, film, and come home. So I could do both. It was like two,
knocking out two things
at the same time. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, and to come back, it was at least an hour and 15 minutes, even on the bike. And if it was on the car, sometimes it's 3 hours.
Yeah, I used to call you and you'd be sitting in the car for like 3 hours.
3 hours.
And
he was nuts.
I always said, what did I say? We all have a choice, right?
Yeah.
And finally your choice changed. I mean, your kids grew up. I mean, let's talk. You had 4 children that were young.
Yeah.
Your youngest one graduated high school, what, two years ago?
So Jakey's 18 now.
Okay, so he just graduated last year then, right?
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of like, you always told me, like, okay, things, once the kids are old enough, now I can kind of make that transition. So talk a little bit about Vegas versus California living and what your expectations. Has it exceeded your expectations between weather, lifestyle, and the gym atmosphere?
Okay, so I really came to Vegas because I'm telling myself it can't be as bad as California. It's going to be, I have no expectation, meaning like, you know what, even if it sucks, I'm going to come here for a year. At least I'll be close to you. It'll be easier for us to work.
Because you hate California now, right?
Oh, I hate it.
Yeah. Okay.
How is that crazy? It went from the dream spot to now you don't want to go back.
Because it's not the same anymore. Yeah. And if you have been there during the heyday, like we have, and you've seen it at the top.
It sucks, honestly, because like a lot of our great memories, like, dude, Venice, like.
I mean, I was there when Titus was there, when Tom was there, when Gary Stern was there, when Lee Priest, when he was there, when Dorian, all these guys, Flex Wheeler. I mean, I remember seeing Charles Glass training, Flex Wheeler and Danny Hester and Chris Cormier and all the same time. Like I mean, it's seen it. It's like seeing the magazine popping up to life in person. You know what I mean? It's so great.
Every pro at some point or another migrated to Venice throughout the year, even if they didn't live there.
So you transitioned here. So tell me about here.
So I came here, and I really came here telling myself, I'm going to come here for a year. Hopefully things will get back to normal in California. And if I don't like it here, I'll just go back. I'll just go back to California. It's no big deal. But I loved it so much more than I thought I would, and I'm shocked. You know when you have no expectation, and then you go see a movie, it's probably not going to be that good, and it turns out to be amazing. So it hits you even more because you're like, holy crap, I wasn't expecting that. And it's kind of what the way Vegas has been for me.
I think you're just a happy guy, though. Have you ever seen Dave really in a bad mood? Like,
not really.
I get in bad mood.
I know. So,
I'm sure you do. But
so you found the Dragon's Lair, like that kind of opened. Was that open when you came?
No. So when we came here, I was just glad to be able to train somewhere without a mask. We were just glad.
That's right. Yeah.
Because it was around that time still. There are a few places. The Fit Club was great. So we went to.
Weren't you at Lift Factory?
We went to Lift Factory, but Fit Club also, we went there a lot because they were like, no mask, so it was just great. And the owners are like super nice over there. So, and eventually when Flex came, I think he opened. He moved in around Christmas and started putting a gym together early in the year. And I think April is when he opened, but we could go a little bit earlier. So starting in March, I started to go there. And when that happened, and all the guys, including people from Venice like Stanimol and Sean Roden and Laura Lee, and all the people that were friends of mine in California start coming here. Yeah, I was like, holy shit! It's like Gold's Gym's like hub was transplanted to Vegas. Literally, is what happened. So I was like, oh my God, I got it made. So it was even better because most of the people that would have to go somewhere to shoot would come to Vegas. People from, like Rafael Brandeo and Hassan Mustafa and all these guys would come and train here for like months, so I could shoot all those guys. It was just, work-wise for me, it was great. And there's so many gyms here in Vegas, so many good gyms that you can just shoot somewhere everywhere different every day. And it seems like it's just like a new...
Don't you feel like we have the best gyms?
Oh, we do.
Like, if you think back to California, like, you didn't go to that many gyms. Like, you went to Venice and you went to, like, a Gold's in West Covina near you, but, like, you didn't get to travel, like, because, number one, the traffic's so bad, but, like, literally you could, in a certain mile radius, go to a different gym on a daily basis.
Oh, yeah. And great gyms here. And it's, I mean, and then everyone's always happy to see us. They always open their door to us. I mean, we're really lucky with the channel because, you know, people are just really taking care of us. They're just glad to see us come here. And it's just, you know, Vegas has been really good for bodybuilding since the pandemic.
I think it always was. I think it always kind of was good here. It just wasn't. It was overshined by California.
You know what it was? But, like, you had chains that were, like, LVAC or Gold's were, like, the only chains. And then eventually now, you know, Gold's turned to EOS, LVAC's everywhere, and now you have, like, the Dragons and the Kilo Clubs and the Fit Clubs and the Powerhouse and the, you know, Yaks Fitness and Lift Factory. You have all these gyms, right? And you have UFC here now that used to be 24-hour, and, like, it's just endless. I mean,
there's gyms that pop up that I'll see come up on Instagram, and I'm like, I didn't even know that gym was here.
And
it's in Northeast Vegas.
Self-Made's down the street.
You
here.
guys are telling me about
There's a
new
Steel
gyms coming.
Fitness gym. They're all over the place.
Yeah, so we have the new Elevation's going to be opening
Elevation's
up.
opening up soon.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah, but you know what, though? Like, when I first started coming to Vegas in 02, 03, there was a ton of pros here. Titus was here then. Kelly was here.
Yeah.
You'd always see the guys coming in and out. Gustavo Bedell, Dennis Wolf, you.
You're right.
Like, Cormier
but
used
it was
to come, but it wasn't. But everyone still would rather be at Gold's Venice if they could.
There you go. It was overshadowed by California still at the time.
Still, yeah.
But when California shut down and everyone spattered and just kind of like scattered all over the place.
I think a lot of people looked at it like they see how expensive it is in California and how much you sit in traffic, and they're like, wait a minute, I can come to Vegas and my bills get cut by like 60%, and I don't have to pay these taxes, and I don't sit in traffic. What the hell am I doing?
It's true, but you know what it is? Here's the problem. With the whole pandemic and their rules and everything, they could just shut it down tomorrow again.
Exactly.
And I think people don't want to deal with this anymore. They want to go somewhere where they know it's not going to happen. So they left for Tennessee, Texas, Florida, Vegas. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Well, that's their bad.
So far as the filming and whatever, is there anyone that specifically, you know, you get to film a lot of people.
I'm so lucky.
Like, is there anyone that sticks to your mind of like
that stood out?
That like, oh man, when I did this shoot with this person, or, you know, I mean, obviously you shoot with me a lot, so we feature a lot of people.
Outside of Jay, someone that like you were really excited and you're really proud you filmed it.
Might have to think about it.
I would have to think about that, yeah.
Or is there someone that you've wanted to film that you haven't yet?
Like, would you get some of the new blood on?
Yeah.
Like Nick Walker.
Nick Walker. We did shoot Nick.
Yeah, you did shoot
Yeah,
Nick.
we did.
You shot Nick before he was really...
Yeah. Before
Did
he won the Arnold.
Chris Bumstead, too?
Interview only.
Okay.
But I would love to do something with him, yeah.
He interviewed.
I was supposed to shoot him at Gold's in Venice, and my dog died, so I had to cancel the shoot. Fuck. Yeah. Wow. That sucks. Yeah, because Chris.
Amazing how some of these people came along. I mean, I remember when I ran up to you and I said, "Hey, there's this good guy in the gym right now, and his name is Joey Sergo or something." And it was Joey Swole, yeah. And I'm like, you should interview this kid. And he wasn't known. He Instagrammed what didn't exist.
It was a nobody at the time.
Yeah, and now look.
And he tells that story to everybody.
Yeah,
like he'll give props
I said, this
to
kid
Jay.
looks pretty good over there. He's in like a chain and whatever, and yeah, it was pretty funny.
Yeah, he gives Jay his prop. Like he'll tell that story every single time he does an interview. He's so grateful. Yeah.
Yeah, you've shot a lot of people.
A lot of people.
A lot.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot more to go too.
Yeah, I mean, the Olympia's coming in December. I mean, you must be excited to get some other people.
I'm super excited about the Olympia. I think it's gonna be great. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the lineup will be who. Let's finish this off with. Who do you like for this year's Olympia? I mean, we got some really good talent coming up that just to qualify. What do you think about Andrew Jacked, and what do you think about Crizzo? Because you got to witness both of those guys. I haven't even seen Jacked in person. You got to shoot him.
Oh man, I think he's
doing Texas.
I think
he's
going to shock a lot of people.
From the videos, he looks like the real deal.
Just great lines and just like he's kind of like.
Do you think he could win the Mr. Olympia
in time?
Yeah,
I think in time. He reminds me of Cedric, but with better
tall.
lines and
He's
even,
tall like that.
Yeah, with better lines and even better shape.
He's a big dude.
Yeah,
you can just tell. I've never.
Yeah, I want to see him in person.
He's so nice too. He's so nice.
And what'd you think about Crizzo when we shot? He was impressive, right?
Yeah, he's a real deal.
Right?
He's gonna shock a lot of people too, because I don't think people will get the. I mean, the video we shot was just very, very quick and passing. But once you see him like in 3D in person in front of you, it's a different ball game.
Yeah. Like his back wasn't like people were harping on his back, but I felt.
But that's
like
all he's got. That's all he's got to work on.
Yeah.
What else does he have to work on? Really,
yeah, the arms, the shoulders. I mean, everything was just
man.
crazy.
He looks like a freak.
Yeah.
So if you, I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot. If you could name your top 5 at the Olympia, who do you think will be in that first call out this year?
To be honest with you, I had Brandon winning last year, so I hope he wins this year. I hope he's getting that.
Well, Rami will be first or second probably, and then Hadi Chupin. Can he push the top, or
I think
what
so.
about Walker or Hunter? Who is the leader this year?
I would put Walker first.
He's been training hard, huh?
Yeah, I would put Walker. I mean, he's just a freak.
Very dedicated.
He's
and not to say Hunter's not, but I mean Hunter definitely. How do you think Ian or some of these other guys will break into the top? You think Andrew Jack will qualify? I think he could be a top 10 guy.
He's got Kuklo this weekend.
Yeah.
Think he can beat Kuklo? No?
I think he could.
Okay. I mean, look, you've seen him. I haven't seen him in person, and he just looks impressive.
He's really good, and he's new, and he's exciting. I don't know. We'll see.
I guess you'll have the front row seat, so you'll be able to see, right?
I can't wait. I can't wait for the Olympia. Are we going to get some tickets, Dan?
Yeah.
We'll make sure you're good.
We may not be able to film it, but
oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
You could pull some strings.
Oh geez.
Well, dude, we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
I know people that follow the Full-Time Bodybuilder, and you're always representing, man. You got the Cutler purple on today. You even match. Usually you don't match, dude.
Really?
Well, he's coming on. He had to.
Because I'm colorblind.
Oh, okay. Well,
that's why.
So tell me what's going on the rest of your day now. How many more meals do you have, and what did you train today?
So today we did hamstrings and triceps. I know it's a weird split.
I always say this. He's almost afraid to tell me. You saw the hesitation there.
Yeah,
right?
because I know what you'll say. I was like, that's weird.
And Eric's training you, obviously. I mean,
Yeah.
how does he like Vegas? This is Eric
Oh my
Roser,
God.
yeah.
He loves it. Yeah, he loves it. Well, he's been like dying a slow death in California for another.
I was very shocked when he was going to move here.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I just didn't think he'd ever leave, man. Like, people say they're going to come, but like I know his girlfriend had a job that she really couldn't
And
transfer.
she had kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard when you have the children and
She
they're
had to go to
young
court.
kids, yeah.
No, he would have moved here a long time ago, but it's just,
How's he loving the Dragon's Lair?
He loves it. He loves Vegas. He loves it. He will never go back. People's like, oh, can you come back to California? He says, no, I'm not going back. You can't come here.
I think a lot of people, once they come here,
It's just too easy. The food is good. I mean,
it's an easy life, man.
I feel like you can get cleaner food. Like you can leave the gym and go over to Protein House, or you can go to Teriyaki Boy or Teriyaki Madness.
They got that foodie fit where you can just go get prep meals.
It's cheap too.
There's so many places. It's too easy, right?
All the breakfast spots.
It's great, Vegas.
I'm glad to know that it beat your expectations. So anyone that's thinking about moving to Vegas, I mean,
we're still recruiting.
Yeah.
Fleck is always laughing, because I just tried to, hey, come and train here. He loves it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Well, good. We're glad you came on. And I always tell people you're the biggest bodybuilding fan ever.
I am a fan.
No, you're not a fan. You're the fan.
I know, but since I retired, you don't have a choice for the Olympia. I mean, you kind of pick Brandon as your guy that you want to see win it, but we'll see as we transition.
I just,
you don't follow it as close, do you?
No, I hate to say it, but when you retired, part of that.
Dave retired too.
Yeah,
he did, but you don't ever go on the message. When's the last time you went on Get Big or went on Muscular Development?
I don't. I just do my own. We do our own work, and I don't look at anybody else. I just put as good content as I can put it out.
It takes so much time, right?
Yeah, just and the reason why I like doing what I do so much with the website, with our YouTube channel, is because I remember being in Canada when all I wanted to hear is what's going on in Venice, what's going on with all the pros and stuff, and I was like, I would kill to see what's going over there. Yeah. So today, when we film something,
it's like your dream job.
I'm basically doing it for those young kids who are just getting started into bodybuilding, who want to see who's the next up and comer, what's going on with Jay, what is he eating today, what is he training today, give me some tips. And so I feel like it would have been great for me to see that back then, and that's the big reason why we're doing what we're doing.
It's awesome.
You know, well, good reason.
Well, we appreciate you coming on, man. We'll have you back on, and as we get closer to the Olympia, because we need you to pay attention on who's going to be qualified and who.
I'll do some homework. We're
going to need you to pick your top 10. We're going to put you on the spot for the next episode. So, so we'll see how close you are, since you are the sport's biggest fan. So,
all right.
For episode 39, we're out.
All right.
Thank you.